Throughout human history, wars have been defining moments, highlighting both our strengths and our vulnerabilities. But in the tumultuous chapters of our battles and conquests, there exists a less told narrative, the unwavering loyalty and unanticipated heroism of animals. Today we uncover some truly heartwarming tales of our four-legged and furry companions during wartime. Our journey begins in the sprawling landscapes of Iran in 1942. Polish soldiers, weary and far from home, encounter a young boy. His companion, an orphaned bear cub. This unlikely meeting marked the beginning of an extraordinary camaraderie. As the months rolled by, Wojtek became an inseparable part of the unit. He was no ordinary bear. He had his moments of mirth, indulging in beer, mock wrestling with the soldiers, and occasionally even imitating them by trying to light a cigarette. Upon seeing the other soldiers do so, Wojtek taught himself to march on hind legs and salute. When the unit had to go on a ship to a new fight, they were told that no pets were allowed on the ship, so Wojtek would need to be left behind. Upon hearing that, the Polish soldiers officially gave him the rank of private, so that he was no longer a pet, but a fellow soldier. But when duty called, Wojtek stood shoulder to shoulder with his human counterparts. The Battle of Monte Cassino saw him in full form. While chaos ensued, Wojtek was there, relentlessly helping his mates by hauling heavy ammunition boxes that would have normally taken 4 men to do so, proving he was not just a mascot but a genuine comrade. His bravery did not go unnoticed. Wojtek was promoted to corporal for his valiant service. Post-war, his tales traveled with him to the Edinburgh Zoo, ensuring his stories of bravery lived on. Many of his unit came to visit him, and he recognized nearly all of them. They would regularly toss him some cigarettes, and when they spoke Polish, he would give a salute. Corporal Wojtek died in December 1963, at the age of 21 at the Edinburgh Zoo. His memory still lives on in multiple commemorative statues, and the 22nd Artillery Supply Company adopted an insignia of a bear on 2 legs holding an artillery shell. Crossing the Atlantic, we find ourselves amidst the clamor and chaos of World War I. Here, a stray dog with a distinctive brindle coat was about to etch his name into the annals of history. Sergeant Stubby was a dog and the unofficial mascot of the 102nd Infantry Regiment and was assigned to the 26th Yankee Division in World War I. He served for 18 months and participated in 17 battles on the Western Front. He saved his regiment from surprise mustard gas attacks, and he found and comforted the wounded. Stubby was found wandering the grounds of the Yale University campus in New Haven, Connecticut in July 1917, while members of the 102nd Infantry were training. He hung around as the men drilled, and one soldier in particular, Corporal James Robert Conroy, 1892 to 1987, developed a fondness for him. When it came time for the outfit to ship out, Conroy hid Stubby on board the troopship. As they were getting off the ship in France, he hid Stubby under his overcoat without detection. Upon discovery by Conroy's commanding officer, Stubby saluted him as he had been trained to in camp, and the commanding officer allowed the dog to stay on board. Stubby, a Boston Terrier, found and adopted by a soldier, was no ordinary canine. From the trenches of France to the heart of intense combat, Stubby became a beacon of hope. His keen instincts were lifesavers, alerting soldiers to impending gas attacks and helping medics locate wounded soldiers in the treacherous no-man's land. Stubby served with the 102nd Infantry Regiment in the trenches in France for 18 months and participated in 4 offensives and 17 battles. He entered combat on February 5, 1918, at Chemin des Dames, north of Soissons, and was under constant fire day and night for over a month. In April 1918, during a raid to take Seicheprey, Stubby was wounded in the foreleg by retreating Germans throwing hand grenades. He was sent to the rear for convalescence and, as he had done on the front, improved morale. When he recovered from his wounds, Stubby returned to the trenches. In his first year of battle, Stubby was injured by mustard gas. After he recovered, he returned with a specially designed gas mask to protect him. He thus learned to warn his unit of mustard gas attacks, locate wounded soldiers in no man's land, and, since he could hear the whine of incoming artillery shells before humans, became very adept at alerting his unit when to duck for cover. He was solely responsible for capturing a German spy in the Argonne, leading to their unit's commander nominating Stubby for the rank of sergeant. Following the retaking of Chateau Thierry by the US, women of the town made Stubby a chamois coat upon which his many medals were pinned. He was later injured again, in the chest and leg by a grenade. He ultimately had 2 wound stripes. At the end of the war, Robert Conroy and Stubby returned home. His wartime contributions didn't go unnoticed. Promoted to sergeant, he was the first dog to achieve such an honor. Upon returning stateside, his heroics were celebrated across the nation, from leading parades to hobnobbing with presidents. Stubby died in his sleep in March 1926 and received an obituary in the New York Times following his death. The obituary was half a page, much longer than the obituaries of many notable people of that time period. Meet Unsinkable Sam, a feline whose resilience was as vast as the oceans he sailed. Beginning his naval adventures aboard the Bismarck, Sam seemed to have a penchant for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Bismarck was sunk after a fierce naval battle on the 27th of May, and only 115 of her crew of over 2,100 survived the engagement. Hours later, Oscar was purportedly found, resilient and unyielding, floating on a board and picked from the water by the British destroyer HMS Cossack. Unaware of what his name had been on Bismarck, the crew of Cossack named their new mascot Oscar. Oscar served on board Cossack for the next few months as the ship carried out convoy escort duties in the Mediterranean Sea and North Atlantic Ocean. On the 24th of October 1941, Cossack was escorting a convoy from Gibraltar to Great Britain when she was severely damaged by a torpedo fired by a German U-boat. The initial explosion had blown off 1/3 of the forward section of the ship, killing 159 of the crew. However, Oscar survived this too, and was subsequently brought to the shore establishment in Gibraltar, and the crew were transferred to the destroyer HMS Legion. Now nicknamed Unsinkable Sam, the cat was soon transferred to the aircraft carrier HMS Ark Royal, which coincidentally had been instrumental in the destruction of Bismarck, along with Cossack. However, Sam was to find no better luck there, and when returning from Malta on the 14th of November 1941, this ship also fell victim to a torpedo from a German U-boat. Attempts were also made to tow Ark Royal to Gibraltar, but the unstoppable inflow of water made the task futile. The carrier rolled over and sank 30 miles from Gibraltar. The slow rate at which the ship sank meant that all but one of the crew could be saved. The survivors, including Sam, who had been found clinging to a floating plank by a motor launch and described as angry but quite unharmed, were transferred to HMS Lightning and the same HMS Legion which had rescued the crew of Cossack. Legion would itself be sunk in 1942, while the Lightning would be sunk in 1943. The loss of Ark Royal proved the end of Sam's ship-borne career. Through all these harrowing experiences, Sam remained unsinkable, finally retiring to the shores, his legend as boundless as the seas. He was transferred first to the offices of the Governor of Gibraltar, and then sent back to the United Kingdom, where he saw out the remainder of the war living in a seaman's home in Belfast called the Home for Sailors. Sam died in 1955. A pastel portrait of Sam is in the possession of the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich. While these tales stand out, history is replete with countless stories of animal valor. Carrier pigeons, often the unsung heroes, delivered crucial messages across treacherous terrains. Horses, our trusted companions, charged fearlessly into battlefields. Dolphins, with their unparalleled sonar abilities, have been instrumental in detecting underwater threats. As we reflect on these tales, it's evident that in the theatre of war, heroism isn't restricted to the human spirit alone. Animals, with their unwavering loyalty, courage, and resilience, have stood by our side, shielding us, supporting us, and reminding us of the bonds that transcend language, species, or understanding. While wars are testament to human conflicts, these stories of animal heroism shine a light on the deeper connections and trust between man and beast. They may not have medals pinned to their fur or feathers, but their legacy remains immortal in the annals of history. In our complex tapestry of existence, let us never forget these unsung heroes. Their tales not only inspire but remind us of the beauty, strength, and unity that life, in all its forms, embodies.